Hello, everyone, and welcome to the August the 12th regular Legislative Committee meeting of the Town of Vegreville. I call this meeting to order at 3 o'clock. First on the agenda, I'll be looking for a motion to adopt the agenda. Oh, Councillor Bullock makes the motion. Is there any additions or deletions? Nothing there for you, Councillor Lemko? No deletions? No. Okay. All those in favor? Carried. Next, I'll be looking for a motion to adopt the minutes of our last regular Ledge meeting. Oh, Councillor Lemko's on that. Is there any errors or omissions within those minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, so we have a few delegations today, and we're going to start with Dan Quigg, Public Works Manager. Take it away, Dan.
Afternoon. I'll jump right into some operational updates that Public Works has been doing since my last meeting. Some of these include street sweeping, which has been completed multiple times. Pothole filling with our spray patch machine is ongoing. Line and curb painting is ongoing. Crack filling is ongoing. Our crews have completed 2 catch basin replacements. One was on the corner of 58th Ave and 53rd Street. The other is in the alley of 45A Ave, and one more will be completed there hopefully before freeze up. Also, dust control, calcium application was done on June 16th. Asphalt repairs are ongoing along with sidewalk and curb and gutter repairs.
Good, and we asked how the new street sweeper is working out.
Very good. No problems with it.
That's good.
So far.
Any other questions on the first part?
Okay. Then I'll just give you a little update on the landfill shop. That pad for the front of the building was poured on May 8th. We have started with dirt work around that building and also installed tin skirting inside and outside of that building.
So are we using that building now for parking?
Not yet. We wanted to get we got to get the sump pump in still, and then we'll start using it. We're not in dire need of space right now because it's nice out. But
yeah, the trucks can set outside. Okay.
Okay, next up, the paving project for 44th Ave started on July 9th by Spectra Systems and was paved July 24th and completed July 25th.
Okay, so Dan, we met earlier today about this project.
Yeah.
And there was a couple concerns that I brought forward to you. And one was the sort of roller up and down on the road itself. Can you tell us why that is like that?
That is because with the paver is following the lay of the land, which is the curb. So it's following the curbs, and there's some curbs there that are a little up and down, and that's where you get that in the road for completion.
Okay, and then what I took to be a bunch of patches that were put in there are not actually patches.
No, they were cracks in the road that they addressed and put in a slurry seal to seal up those cracks, and then a waterproof membrane goes on top and then gets melted to the road, which is black because the slurry is brown, which would have looked a lot worse than that there. So they did not cut any patches.
Okay, so if anybody is questioned on that, I mean, when I went by on Friday and then came back on Sunday, it looked like there was a lot of patching, and I brought that up earlier with Manager Quigg, that it just seemed like, wow, that seems like a lot of patching, but it was actually some of the indentations and stuff that were created by the roller and on the edge, and so it's not actually a cutout patch or anything, it's a coating that they put on there, so. Okay, go ahead.
And also we completed some extra manhole replacements where this funding came from grant funding. We had 3 of them done. There'll be pictures of locations after, but there's 572248A Street was an emergency dig. I have a picture of the before and after of that one. Then 4726 58A Avenue and 5741 48th Street. That's manhole refurbishment.
All right.
Right at the very restart, Jameson. No, I'll go on to the manhole, start with the manholes. There we go. So to jump to the budgeted ones, those locations there were the budgeted ones that we did. And those locations were 49 A Street cul-de-sac, south of 59th Ave, in the intersection of 48A Street and 42nd Avenue. And that was budgeted for $60,000, and it came in at $52,007.55. And the other locations, Jameson, if you can scroll, or those are the other locations we did, all in North Circle Drive. And then there is a slide of the before and after of the emergency dig that we had to complete. So as you can see, there was no flow there. It had collapsed on itself, and the next up is manhole refurbishing. This is where they do that epoxy seal on the inside of manholes to seal it up from groundwater infiltration. We did a total of 6 of those, and there's a whole bunch of before and during and after pictures there that Jameson will go through. The addresses for those are 5328 48th Ave, 5229 48th Ave, 5013 46th Ave, 4838 49th Ave, 4833 54th Ave.
Question or comment? You said those epoxy seals, so they coat the inside of the manhole itself all the way down?
So they go in and they seal up all those joints, because some of them are cinder block or have seams in them, the bigger ones, and they seal all that up, and then they spray that epoxy seal on there to seal it up so the groundwater can't get in.
Okay, good.
Go ahead.
Just because we have potentially more than Mayor McPhee's mom, we have some of our citizens watching. Can you maybe just explain the importance of refurbishing? Obviously, the preventative cost of having to replace an entire one is important, but those pictures identify, like, for example, the first one that you showed in a bad state, and how important it is to be able to have a manhole that's operational, particularly when we have a high incidence of rainflow, like last week, for example, when it's a fast influx of water, how important it is to have this as an operational piece of our infrastructure.
So they're good to, like, there's your pictures there, to stop it from breaking itself down more, because they've already started that process of breaking down. So then we would jump to the next stage of replacing it altogether, which is quite costly. I think they're $25,000 each, depending on depth. They go up if they're a lot deeper. These do as well, but this is a much simpler application, which prolongs the life of it by 50 years. So if we can catch it before it gets to the deteriorated too badly, we're way ahead.
And you said that we have some that are cinder block and not ring construction?
Yeah, old ones.
Oh, yeah.
They're block ones, yeah. You'll see a combination of both in some of them as well.
Yeah.
And also, the dirt comes with it, and then that's where you get a lot of sediment into the sewer system as well.
So what do you think for next year? How many more are we looking at for these?
Refurbishing? I think we're doing fairly well right now with the 6. We can always bump it up, but we're doing fairly well with that. It's more the manhole replacements altogether that we're coming across that, are past the point that we need to get them dug out.
Yeah.
We don't have failures like that one. That one was caught in time that we didn't have backups to houses and stuff like that, so.
It ain't sexy, but it's very, very important, that's for sure. Any other questions up on those? Okay, keep going.
Okay, next up is the sewer main calcification removal. That was budgeted for $50,000, and it came in at $49,605.48. The company came in June, and we did, there's the locations there on the map, but I'll read them off. It's 49 A Street from 57th Ave to 5720. 49 A Street is 80 meters, then 49th Ave, from 48th Street east to the Cultural Center, 290 meters, and then Vantage Road from the Cultural Center to Vantage Parking Lot, 160 meters. So during this process, when we did on 49A Street, they came across a part of a line that, sewer main that was ready to collapse, and it's right there in that picture, that we had to do an emergency dig as well there before we could line that section. Any questions on that?
Oh, I think we're good.
Okay. Next up is the sewer lining program, which was for $100,000 and has been completed. We did 250 meters of lining on 49A Street from 57th Ave to 59th Avenue. So as you can see in there, we replaced one manhole, repaired the sewer main in one spot, and then relined it. So that's where this calcification program shows us that there's problems beforehand, so we can fix them and then line them.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, you have told us this before, but just also because there might be some people interested in it as well. When we're looking at this, obviously the one program, leads into the other, but just looking at the $100,000 for the reline, can you give us again approximately prior to when we weren't using a reline, what 250 meters was costing us before? Because I think it's really important for the general public to know how much of a change this is and how much more we're able to do because of these two programs.
Right. I hate to put a number on it because of the way costs have been going to do things like this, but for sure double to do, or if not $1 million to dig and replace services involved with that as well. So.
Yeah, because I think that's a very important point. I mean, we're looking at this if we are at least double or more. I mean, we're looking, up to the $1 million, like we said. That is a lot of work we're able to do. If you think doing this year over year and continuing to put it into the budget, we're going to hit a full reline of our town a whole lot quicker than we ever could with an actual dig.
Well, just replacing the sewer line is crazy enough, but then you gotta redo the roads and everything back on top. With the technology we're seeing from a lot of companies, they will just going in and cleaning those lines out and then being able to run this line are probably another 50 years of service we're getting.
That's
on
great.
those, so.
Next up is the CRF sand seal. It's for $70,000 and has not been completed yet, but we are going to do 58th Ave from Birch Ave to 50th Street, and then 56th Ave from 50th Street to 47th Street. They are just behind because of weather in other areas, and they were gonna come the end of this week, but our weather's not looking so good, so it's looking like the end of August now for this.
Sort of like holding a fair, you don't know what the weather's gonna do.
Exactly.
Okay. So basically, all your projects are pretty much on budget, and other than this, the sand seal, like everything is rolling pretty good.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions for Manager Quigg? How's your new truck working out?
I didn't get a new truck.
Oh, we didn't?
Which truck?
A sewer truck didn't?
Oh, the new sewer truck. Very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Tony.
Maybe you sold that already.
No, that's very good. All the operators really like it a lot because it's way operator friendly compared to the other truck. They've got her down to 2 people running it all the time, so it's very user friendly and nice to run.
Excellent. Okay, well, thank you very much for the presentation, and hopefully your staff are getting through their holidays okay, and you'll,
They are, yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
it's a bit of a challenge. You're trying to run projects and get stuff done, and
Yeah,
just
the
general
weather and
maintenance.
other projects pop up too.
Yeah, oh, that's expected, the unexpected.
Yeah, the unexpected projects, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much for the presentation today, Manager Quigg, and we'll look forward to the costing. Everything else was a little below budget. We'll see what this relining ends up at once you see the invoices.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Next up, Tony Temptation, Municipal Services Manager. Looks important, Tony has 2 tabs over here, so.
Good afternoon, Your Worship and Council. We'll go through the projects first. The first project is the bale attachment for the landfill for the skid steer. Budgeted for that was $6,000. It come in at $3,515. So it was, and the reason it's less than what I got quoted is because it's a different style. The first one that I got quoted, after looking at it, I wasn't sure it was going to do the job I wanted it to do. So I started looking at other styles, and this was the one that we thought would work better, so we went with this one. And the pictures, I know there's some pictures are not the greatest, but it shows a couple pictures of it working where we'll pick up a bin and then we'll actually do fridges. And the nice thing about it is with fridges, before we had to have 2 people there, one to put it onto the forks of the skid steer, the other one to strap it down. And then every once in a while it'd slip off and knock the windshield out of the skid steer. So this way, the guy doesn't even get out of the cab. He just goes, clamps it, moves it. You can flip it over. You can do whatever you want with it to get it to stand where you want it. So it's a really, really good piece to have, and it saves on a lot of manpower and a lot more safe than the way we were doing it before.
Did we have to add anything to our hydraulics in the skid steer, or it was just a?
No, all the skid steers have the high flow hydraulics for it, so it's fine. So.
Excellent. It is a lot safer than what we were running, for sure.
Oh, it's big time safer, yes. Next is the ball beater at the VMRF, the Vegreville Material Recovery Facility. It is up and running. That was budgeted at $10,000. It come in at $8,757 and $115, so under budget a little bit. We have it up and running now, so we got the old one just sitting on the side to make sure that, because it seems like everything we're getting new we're having warranty issues with. So we kept the old one just in case this one happens to give us trouble. But so far it's been good. It hasn't given us any trouble at all. So.
Well, maybe once we get all the kinks out, it might be something that we could pass on for a little bit of money. Who knows?
Yeah, well, we could try. The reason we got rid of the old one though was because of the filter door. It was broke on it and we couldn't get a replacement part for it. That's why we went to the new one to begin with, because that was such an old piece of equipment already. You couldn't get parts to fix it anymore. So, but there might be somebody looking for parts. Who knows, right?
For sure. Any questions so far for your temptation? Okay, keep going.
Next one is the half-ton truck. That is the one for fleet. We got all the accessories put on now. The new decals got put onto the doors yesterday, the one set we had. Just waiting for the other decals to come in to do the rest equipment. The one we got for parks also, they're using it. It just doesn't have the decaling on it. But all the accessories and everything are on the truck and all of that. So James is using it at the present time. We just got to get the decals put on when we get them in. And both those trucks come in. We had them budgeted for $60,000. They come in at $58,877, so just under the $60,000. And that's with the accessories, with the price of the decals built in. Everything was put into that final price. So they all come in. They both come in under budget. So.
What a difference in 5 years on municipal pricing on pickups, eh?
Oh, big! It's just crazy how much.
It's double
Yeah.
in 5 years.
And it's not just that; it's parts too. Like it's just insane. So.
Do you know what color these trucks were?
White. With black tires.
Yeah. Nice.
Next is the rubber tire backhoe we got. That is, we're using that at present time. The new one we got is very operator friendly compared to the old one we had. It's just a lot easier for the operators to get a hang of it quicker. Like it's just a very simple machine to run. It's not as complicated as the other one. And it's got way more power than the old one had, so we're not struggling when we're digging now and stuff like that. So that was it's an awesome machine, the new one right now. And that, we had the budgeted for 275,000, and we come in at $258,760. So a bit under budget on that also.
You're getting close to 10 grand in savings there, Manager Tintition.
Or trying. I'm not done yet.
Councilor Rudy.
Again, because we're doing these quarterly reports, sometimes the preamble isn't available today for anybody that's watching. The previous backhoe, where does that exist? What's happened with that?
That is, we are gonna put it up and sell it. It's still at the landfill at present time, because I'm getting everything organized to get it all taken off the assets for the town, so I can go and disperse of the equipment, so. But it hasn't been done as of yet. I'm just getting everything arranged to send it for the fall to get a bunch of it, getting rid of it, so.
Right.
And we have a process for selling town assets like that, so you're taking off some of the valuable components to keep. But a piece of equipment like that, what is our general process for getting rid of that and dispensing of those?
Well, on that one, we don't have another piece of equipment that we could use any parts off that. So we'd be looking at selling it, right, taking it to auction probably and seeing what we can get for it. And also with that is the old compactor we had for it, because it's totally different the way it hooks up to the new one. So we'll be including that with it. Anything that we can't utilize, we will sell it with that piece of equipment that when we get rid of it, so.
Excellent. Let's move on to the next one.
Oh, the sewer cleaning flusher truck. So as Dan told you, the operators really like it, and it's been well received, I'll put it that way. They find it way easier than the other one was to operate and to do what they have to do with it, I guess is the best way to put it.
So this one is not a dual purpose. This is basically just for sewer cleaning.
Correct, it's just a sewer flusher, that's all it is. It's not a hydrovac and a flusher, it's just a sewer flusher truck, so. And the budget, and that was $510,000, and it come in at $470,278. So that was, and I think the reason that come in so much lower is because when I got the quotes, they were expecting a little more costs on tariffs, but when we got it before the tariffs, so but I had that thrown into the quote to begin with, just in case. So I think that's why we're down where we're at with that on that one. Any questions on that?
Doesn't look like.
Nope.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
And then the next one is the street sweeper, and I know everybody said when we first got it, it looks small compared to the other one, but it does a better job from what I see when they're going down the street. Like, they're not having to go on the double passes like we did with the old one. This one picks it up way better. The only downside to it is the hopper's smaller, so we have to dump it more, but we just park a truck someplace convenient for him so he can go and dump the hopper into the gravel truck. And then the only time he's got to ever come back is when he needs to fill up with water, so, but the operator liked it, and like I said, I've been really impressed with the job it's been doing around town, so. And that's still in our budget of just being rented per month, so we have it till the end of August, I think, is what we said, but we can keep it till September if we want. We just have to pay that, because when we did it on a 6-month, so it'd go to the end of September if we keep it till that point. But if we decide we don't need it, we can give it back, and then we'll save that $12,500 for the 1-month rental, because we have to keep it for so many months, and that's at the end of August when we meet that obligation. So then anything after that, if we don't need it, we can send it back and don't have to pay rent on it to keep it, so.
But we will be replacing some wear parts before it goes back.
There is some wear parts, like we gotta do all the brooms, all the stuff. Anything that is a wear part, like you said, we have to replace. We have to wash it all up, clean it all up, make sure everything's good on it when we send it back, or they wash it and charge us and all the other stuff, so we have to clean it up good too before it goes back. There is a list that I got from when we leased it that we have to look after when it goes back, so we'll just go off that list and do what we have to do on it, so.
Go ahead.
Just because even with the if there is the added extra month, but just looking at the costing so far versus the estimated budget, did we go with a smaller unit, or is there like a reason why it's, because it's quite low under the original estimates? I'm just wondering.
Were you talking like the lease estimates or which one?
Yeah, just seeing our estimated budget on this item here was quite a bit higher than if we've only done 37.5 with it right now. And I see it's listing as a 90 on an estimate.
Yeah, I don't, maybe not everything's went through yet because we get sent on a monthly bill on it. So maybe we haven't, I don't think we've got August yet or
Okay,
other ones,
yeah.
right? So,
I just, even there, it would be well under, because if we're at 37.5, even so shows we have from April 8th to August 8th. So if we get another month in, we're still, quite a bit under. So I just didn't know if we went with a smaller unit or
We gotta buy a bunch of brushes
yeah,
a whole bunch
and
of
all this stuff, yeah.
Okay.
I'll have to check into that further too. Because
We didn't change our plan.
we didn't change our plan and this was the one that we actually wanted when we quoted it. So I can't answer that right offhand.
Yeah,
'cause
no worries. Yeah.
But I have to check into it for sure, so.
Okay,
So then into my report, we'll start with fleet. So we got the rescue unit up and running, which was, as you know, we had got some water into the fuel, so it gave us a bunch of issues where we had to change the pump on it, change injectors, change a bunch of fuel lines. And then it got into a pretty costly venture by the time we were done. So we don't know exactly where the water come from at this point, because if it was in our tanks or something, some of our other units should have it, and they didn't. So, and yet there was no holes in it when we pulled the tank. There was no holes in the tank, no lines off the tank, no nothing that would get water into it. So we're not sure where it come from at present. And the tank was very dirty inside. Like we flushed it and steamed it many times to clean it out before we put it back on. So it's one of those things, I don't know where it come from. So like they're obviously got in someplace, but we just don't know where at present, so. Next one is the new fire truck. We got that up and that's delivered and we're using it. As I said with the warranty, we're having some issues, so we're working with Fort Garry and getting the issues corrected on it at the present time. But it is very nice to operate and to use. It's just that some of these issues drives a guy a little bit crazy on a new unit when you start having some issues. So we hope we'll get the bugs out of it and they'll be fine after that, so.
so would these issues be chassis or the back end?
Some to do with the body parts on it, some with some paint issues, some with, right now I have an issue with the monitor on it, so I got talking to the Akron engineers, actually, that's who made the monitor, to see what they can do for us to get it to work properly, because it was working fine, and now it's not doing what it's supposed to do. So I'm working with them at present to see what we can do to correct it, but just stuff like that have showed up after, so. Next is the new rough cut mower for parks. That already is come in, so it is sitting in Nisku waiting for us to go pick it up. So that we'll be going heading there this week to pick that mower up and bring it out. When Dan Kuzmic first presented it, we were looking at one in Saskatoon at the time. That was the closest one for the model we wanted. And they had 6 of them, and by the time I phoned, they were all gone. So then I phoned Nisku, and they didn't have any in stock, but they had one coming in, and they figured a couple weeks after when I talked to them, so I put a hold on it for us, told them to hold it, that we will take it when it gets in, and that come in at $37,700. So and it is in, so I can go pick it up this week, and then Parks will have the rough cut mower.
With all this rain, yeah,
Yes,
there's gonna be a few, yeah.
yeah, so.
Yep.
So next, we'll move on to garbage. So our 3-yard cubic bins, well, I have 2 that I kept just in case new ones, and I've ordered a bunch back in May, and they figure I should have them hopefully next week. But that's how long it's taken to get them once you order the bins. I don't know if they're that busy or if they're having supply issues or what it is, but before it was really quick, and now it's not as fast as it used to be. Like, it takes usually a couple months by the time from order to when I receive them, so.
And that's from environmental metal work?
Correct, yes, yep. So,
Can I ask, how many bins are there?
that I ordered? I ordered 10 at a time, because I ordered 10 in the
These are
spring.
the back alley.
Sorry?
These are the larger bins in the back alley?
Yeah, the 3 cubic yard bins. This year, we've been finding a lot of them are getting to the end of life,
Yeah.
and they're getting a lot of big rust holes in them, so we've been replacing quite a few of them. So that's why in the budget this year, I put in for 20 for this year, and next year I'll be looking for probably 20 or maybe 30, because I got lots of recycling and compost now, so I might increase my garbage to help get over the ones that are rusting out on us, so,
That's good, thank you.
yep.
You know, Manager Tim Tischen, a while back, I gave to the parks manager, a local guy that's building picnic tables and stuff, and he also redoes the bottom
Oh, really?
bins too, and maybe I can pass that information on to you too.
Sure, that'd be awesome, because there is some that we could, that don't have, some are way past, like, but there is some
Yeah.
that we might be able to fix for sure.
Yeah, he's a local guy in town, and I know that Dan looked at his picnic tables, and the town of Two Hills just bought a bunch of picnic tables, but he did remind me that he redoes the bottom of those bins.
Oh, awesome. No, I'm be willing to look at that for sure.
Any other questions up to now? Okay, keep
So,
rolling.
as of right now, we're working on Unit 121, which is the one garbage truck. That is, it's got just under 13,000 hours on it. It's a 2016, so it does get a lot of hours. That's the one we bought from Vermilion when we bought all the bins. And so we're doing a bunch of injectors on it now, brakes, the hydraulic system, the pump and PTO, and the cylinder inside, so they got it all apart. We're repairing it, so then once that's done, then we'll have our 3 good trucks to go, and then we'll be looking at getting rid of 108 and dispersing that truck. But as for now, we're still using it, because we're trying to get this one up to speed before we get rid of the other one, so,
That looks nice, those two new ones running around town.
yes, so. And then into recycling. So our Beyond the Bin Roundup on June 14th, we had 157 vehicles come in. And Jennifer was doing a survey for me to see where they're from. And actually 87% were from Vegreville, from the town itself. So that was really good to see that the residents at the town are actually utilizing and bringing stuff to the Roundup, so.
So the rest would be county residents?
County, yeah, mostly. There was 1 or 2 other residents from like Viking and stuff that just showed up, but the other majority was mostly the county, yes. And then we also, from the Roundup, we diverted 8,247 kgs, which is just over 18,000 pounds that we collected at the Roundup, so. So on July 1st, we signed with Circular Materials for our curbside and our depot contract. So we are just in the process of getting that up and running now. I've been looking at changing the routes so I can have all my residential done in one day. So we got the recycling center organized a little bit so that we can put the residential on one side and the commercial on the other side, so we can keep it from getting commingled and getting it confused with one another. Because Circular Materials is only for residential, not for any business or anything like that. But it does cover the multifamily and all those. But it is all only residential that they will take when we do the baling and stuff for them, so. And I did buy a scale for the recycling center, and that is so we can weigh the bales, because with Circular Materials, I have to know how much waste I'm getting in the loads of the truck coming into the depot. So what we're gonna do is we will have a bin, and then we can put the waste from the truck that comes into that bin, then I can weigh that bin, and then I'll know how much waste I had for weight in there, and then I'll know the weight when we sell the bales, And then I can correspond how much of a percentage I got of waste coming in, because I'm, got to keep it around a 4% waste is what Circular Materials wants. And like I said again, that doesn't include business, that's just for residential, so.
So you say you're weighing the bin, like, you don't weigh the truck before you unload it? It gets loaded into a bin?
No, we don't weigh the truck, because to weigh the truck, we would have to go to the landfill, weigh the truck, come back, dump, go weigh the truck again. So what we do, what our agreement we made with them is that we will have a bale scale, and this is the way I can do it without having to run to the landfill all the time. I do have to weigh the trucks twice a year to get a tear weight off them, just for my paperwork, but that's not an issue, I can do that. But we just didn't want to be running back and forth all the time, because not only is it costly and time consuming, but it's not good for our footprint for the town either, right? So we didn't want, so what, they did agree to the bale scale, so that's why. And I picked that scale up, it was just under $5,000, so, and it's a 5,000 kilogram scale, so we do what we need to do out there. It's got a printer and everything on it, so we can print our weights and have records of all that kind of stuff. So.
Do you have a question?
I was going to say, appreciate that there's been some movement on the original offering that Circular Materials provided to us. So it sounds like it's maybe a little bit more amenable to our operations, because originally it was not considering what we do here. So it sounds like maybe it's a better negotiation. And do you have an idea how long commercial contracts will be negotiated?
From when I talked to them, they told me they don't know. It's up to ARMA and to the province to decide when they want to have the commercial and business ends going. But Circular Materials said they have no idea at this point about any of that. So.
Okay, well, this is already a better conception than there was originally. So hopefully it'll be not too much change, but a change in the right way for operations.
Correct, yeah. And I think if the residential goes well, then I think the rest will come on board, because they'll see what value it is for the province. So, but I just think it's going to take time to get the residential going through, so they can see what's actually coming out of there, and then figure it out after that, right? Mm-hmm. Then landfill, we started our groundwater monitoring. So what we do is every year I have a company come in, they do all our test wells right around the landfill to make sure we're not getting any chemicals into the groundwater from the landfill. And so far there was one well that was high a little bit, but but we drilled another well close to it, and that well is fine. So we're not sure why that one is high and the other ones aren't. But it could be something just in the soil in that area that's a little different than other soils, right? Because they said at this time, they don't know what the difference is, but they're pretty confident it's not coming from the landfill itself, so.
So we closed off the first well?
No, we're still doing.
Oh, come on.
Well, unfortunately, Alberta Environment wants them all going.
Well, that one doesn't work.
Yes, I know. But. And then upcoming in Q4, I'm working on budget items for 2026. And like I said, just working on revising routes for our residential recycling pickup. So, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Any questions for Manager Tentition? Well, I do have one. It's regarding the certification of the pump on one of the fire trucks. And I brought it up with Manager Newton. Why do we keep running our trucks to Red Deer for this? I just know that there's got to be some place in Edmonton, there are pumps.
Actually, once I heard that, I researched it a little bit, and I did find a place in Edmonton that will do it. It's a commercial truck that actually do fire trucks now. They have EVT technicians and stuff, but they only started a year and a half ago. And I was not aware that they even did it. The only way I found out, I went online, and then their name come up, so I phoned them and said, "You guys actually do pumps?" And they said, "Yes, we do." And I said, "Well, you guys should advertise this a little bit more, right?" But that's so. The reason we went to Red Deer is because that's where we always went with the units, and they were the closest one at the time, so that's why we utilized them. And they knew our units too, right? So, but I'm getting some prices from commercial. They're sending me a list of what they charge us for pump testing and all that kind of stuff. So I have something to go back and have a look and see how we're doing comparing to Rocky Mountain Phoenix and stuff like that, so.
You know, like, to me, like to repack a pump or something, to take it to Red Deer. And I appreciate the fact that you went ahead and researched that, because to me, I just know how many shops in Edmonton rebuild pumps.
Great.
So, that's good. I appreciate you doing that.
No problem, thank you.
Okay, well, thank you for your presentation, and I was gonna say, how's all your employees doing? I mean, you're getting through with VMRF and everybody's holidays and at landfill and your mechanics, everything's going good?
Yeah, we're holding together.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up, utilities manager. Oh, sorry, I didn't know you had a question.
No, I was just going to say, the second report that you had attached about the recycling roundup report. That's the second thing there.
Oh, the pictures of the roundup.
Oh,
Just the volume.
okay.
I just, if,
Oh, just pictures of the.
yeah, you don't, yeah, sorry. I just wanted to make sure that we were all aware. I mean, we got to see the agenda, but maybe not everybody is aware what an extensive amount of work it is to try to get this set up. And none of us on council talked about it before it happened. I usually attend. But there's a lot of people that, as you've collected information, there's a lot of people that kept a lot of toxic materials out of the landfill, which is actually great for us. And people have just become accustomed to being able to do this every year, but you wouldn't be able to do it if you didn't apply for the grant to be able to fund this. So thank you very much. This is a lot of extra work that'll actually benefit residents for generations to have this kept out of the landfill.
Good, thank you. As you know, Phyllis and her crew at the recycling center do an awesome job. They make sure it's done to the best of their ability all the time, so.
And it's nice to see that, well, it's probably around 57% of the participants were from the town of Vegreville.
Actually, 87%
87,
that was.
oh, was a percent? Oh, I thought it was people, sorry.
No, 87% was from the town.
So I was, good, thank you very much. Next up, Jorgen Heesink, the utilities manager, and Jorgen only has one file, so good. Maybe it's a really long one.
Good afternoon, Your Worship, councilors. I'll start off with something that was started last year. It was our lagoon fencing project. Phase 2 has been completed. We had to redo the fence around the lagoon cells as per Alberta environment laws. The other ones were originals, the barbed wire was rotten, the posts were rotten, it was just falling apart. So I figured before Alberta Environment comes around and does a surprise inspection and hands us a nice coupon, I'll kind of jump on it. So that was completed in June of this year. There was an estimated budget of $28,000 and we were bang on at $28,000 final bill.
And Jorgen, was it somebody local that we used, or we did it?
It was an outfit out of Holden.
Holden, good.
Unfortunately, there's nobody around Vegreville that does it. I mean, it's very labor intensive putting up fences, so.
Okay.
So next on the list is rebuilding pump 2 at our main sewer lift. By rebuilding it, we should be able to get another 15 years service. It's a budgeted item. The pump was picked up back in January. The estimated budget was $48,000. So far, we're on. The last update I got from the repair company, he will be here Thursday to start installing it, and should be done Thursday, possibly, if not Thursday, definitely Friday. So that's where that one stands.
Do we have our backup pump installed on that right now?
This pump actually is for our main sewer lift, the one out at the cemetery.
Yeah.
So there's 3 pumps down there. This would be the last of the 3 to be rebuilt and put in service. I'm gonna put in for budget next year, the one that we're pulling out to send away to get rebuilt, and that'll be our spare.
Excellent. Maybe you could use the company that the director or manager dentition found. Maybe they'll rebuild the
I
pump.
don't know if they want to touch that one. It's a little bit dirtier than fire pumps. Next is upgrading our bulk water system, which would be removing the coin boxes and installing debit and credit card readers. That's a budgeted item. Everything's on track. I'm hoping to start in the fall here. I'm waiting for the farmer fall rush to be completed. Farmers will be coming in, probably if they haven't already, to start getting water for desiccating their crops. So I want to wait until that rush is done, and then we can go with this. The system has been ordered. We've received it. It's actually in my office at the moment. I've spoken to the installers, the electrician who's going to be doing it, the instrumentation tech. He's spoken to the company, so everybody's on par. Everybody knows what's happening. The installer figures probably within a day, day and a half, and he'll have everything done, all 3 lanes. So,
And how are we going to go about explaining this to the public and the usage?
yeah. This week, I'm hoping to put notices, physical notices on the panel boxes out there. Possibly Jameson and Kayla will be speaking to each other as to putting it on social media, possibly the town website. I'm going to try and advertise as much as I possibly can. I don't know, but an ad in the paper, I honestly don't know how much more we can advertise saying that we're going to do a changeover.
Well, I'm sure that Jameson's department can help out there. Councilor Riddick?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I've had the good fortune of being out there quite a few times watering before we got all this water. And it would be, I think, helpful, like you said, putting the notification on the boxes out there, just because that's where people are plugging their money in. I think the other part that people will find appealing is if they're able to get a receipt. Because as it stands right now, if they're using coins, they don't get a receipt. But if we're able to encourage folks, if they're using a debit or credit card that we're paying, that they're actually able to produce a receipt for taxation, that's actually something that they'll like as well. So maybe part of the sharing of information is like through our farm dealerships too. Like there's places where farmers are gathering, getting their parts leading up to fall, but it would be good to start advertising out there right now.
Yep.
Because those are well used.
I did that advertising last fall when we put in our VFD pumps, changed our MCC cabinet, and we never received a single phone call. I put the notices up, I think it was about a week or 2 weeks before we actually went ahead with that work, and we never received a single phone call. So I'm hoping this will be the same. I know I'm really putting it out there this far in advance, but the farmers are coming in already, and who knows how often they come in, when they come in, so.
So if they have an account with the town of Vegreville, they'll receive a card that, maybe Director Sasker, you can help me out here, that they will just put money into their account and their card will work? Like, is that, or is it just debit and MasterCards?
Sorry about that. As far as I'm aware, I haven't seen this system start yet, but as far as I'm aware, they can preload their card, and there are certain fees for preloading more than 5,000 or 10,000. I forget what the cutoff is. We can set it, and so they can preload their card so that it runs down. So for lots of people that are maybe commercial, where they have haulers that don't necessarily have the corporate card, not everyone is owner-operated run, so the owner-operator can put money on their account and then give the drivers the passcode and PIN. So it's very much like, you know, like our old Petrocan, where you would use the card or use the PIN and then type in the password, and then you can just use the pumps.
Okay, because Director Lefebvre had mentioned to us that there may be certain cards that go along with certain industries. That if you need potable water for your residents, that's the type of card you would purchase.
And that's part of the PIN code, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure if they're tokens or whatnot. I haven't seen, like I said, I haven't seen this, but that is something that we can restrict. So if you have non-potable water in your tanks, you're only restricted to the one lane. You're not able to be on the residential side of things or the potable water side.
Because that's become a bit of a sore spot, that potable water, people are dropping
Yes.
hoses into
And that
unsanitized.
we will set up. with each account. We can restrict certain accounts to only one lane if we choose to.
Okay, well, we're looking forward to it, and that'd be a lot easier for everybody, and probably people will stop beating the heck out of the coin box.
Well, yeah, and I got one box that somebody's dropping quarters in. I don't know how it's receiving it, but it's working. So instead of loonies and toonies, now I'm counting quarters too, so.
I had a coin counter at the car wash once that a guy puts a peso coin in, and it burnt out the reader because on the loonie, it grabs and counts every side, and it just couldn't get a good count on it. And it kept trying until it burnt and the guy was phoning me that your machine's broken. And when I finally got it apart, and I called him back and said, "Were you just in Mexico?" "Yeah, I got home last night." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah." Keep going there, Jordan.
Okay, so next is the water control system upgrade. So this basically is upgrading our SCADA at our reservoirs, water reservoirs, and updating computers and stuff. It's a budgeted item. It said here mid-August start. Actually, they started yesterday. So hopefully they should be done this week, Friday of this week. So between our west reservoir, our pump house, and our main computer at the Public Works shop, everything should be brought up to 2025. So.
So we'll have real-time SCADA on everything, like,
Yes. Everything except the sewer lift by the cemetery, but that'll be within the next few years, 5 years, whichever happens. It's on the list.
yeah, it's nice to be able to see real-time where we're at anytime without running people down there. It's good.
And then I just have an operational update here. So from my last report, which was, I don't even remember, February, March, I believe, we've replaced 3 valves at the water pump house. That's the one by the arena on the second floor. They were just old. It was time. They were 50-plus years, 40 years old. It was time. And before we have a problem, it's better to tackle it. We replaced, there was some leaking piping on the second floor at the main sewer lift station. Again, that's the one out by the cemetery, and again, due to age. Unfortunately, all our infrastructure in these lift stations have reached the end of life cycle, and now we gotta start fixing, repairing, patching, whatever we need, right?
Well, it's nice that lift station, the whole bottom end's redone,
It will be, yep.
and then we'll just replace everything, and we'll
Just
ever like,
keep on rolling, yep,
ever like new pretty soon.
yep. And as far as water meters, I'm replacing them as they appear on the list, and on my current list, there's about 15. And again, the only way I can find them is if they don't read. So,
Go ahead.
So I have a question. We've talked lots about water, and we will again in a little bit. When you're talking about they're not reading, so is it a town-identified issue, or is it an owner-identified issue, or sort of a combination?
the meter, it's the meter head itself, there's a battery inside, and they die. It's a typical battery. So when they die, then I can't get a read, and then I have to go just replace the meter head, and away we go again. Reprogram it, and away we go again. There are some that are still under warranty. I think I still owe Master Meter, I think there's about 300. And those are the ones we're trying to weed out with the older serial numbers. We're trying to weed them out first, but I don't want to take them out of service if the battery isn't dead, because I can send them away and they'll say, no, it's still good, it's still transmitting, and they'll send it back to me and I don't get a warranty claim for it. But then I can't turn around and put it back into service, because being a battery, it could be good today and tomorrow no good. You know, and it looks kind of silly on our part to go into the house twice in 3 days type of thing to replace a meter head.
Well, this all comes back to that bad batch.
Yes.
Of meters that went across North America.
Yes, yep.
Yeah, we're not the only municipality struggling with this issue.
And it's not just in the water utility. Years ago, I was replacing one, and I spoke to a member. He was on a board for a natural gas transmission company around here, And he said they have the same thing with their meters, the exact same thing. So it's not just us.
Okay, any questions? Go ahead.
I guess maybe more of a comment than anything. Obviously, water is like some of our other infrastructure issues. The public doesn't see it that often, but I just think it was good to note a couple of things that you mentioned, including even something as simple as like the fencing around the lagoon and how so many of those are very regulated. And so when we're making these decisions and people are seeing a new fence up in an area like that and maybe wondering how that would prioritize over some other areas, that so many of these spots that people aren't seeing are really highly regulated by whether it be Alberta Environment or others. So thank you for those updates, because I actually was going to ask a question because somebody had mentioned something about fencing. So I appreciate that.
Well, Jorgen, our manager, he said, wasn't joking when he said that we could get a coupon.
Right.
Yeah, a coupon is
We could
a
get a
fine.
coupon, all right?
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much for the presentation, and how's things going with your staff? You're getting through the holidays and,
Oh, I'm getting along fine. I'm on holidays every month, so.
you are?
I have a whole bunch I gotta use up, so. Unfortunately, Jamie's, the one, stuck holding the fort,
Oh, yeah.
but, so far, so good. Everything's good. Yep.
Okay, well, let everybody know we appreciate everything that the employees are doing in all the departments, you guys, so.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Director Saskew.
Thank you, Worship. I have here the utilities billing bylaw. So this has been brought forth to council at a legislative meeting once before, but I'm bringing it back today with a memo on some of the changes that we've made since the last time we talked. So, sorry, my page is loaded and then refreshing. So since our workshop on July 15th, line 2.3 has been updated to remove who is the owner of any property connected or provided with water. Line 2.6 has been updated to include subclasses for multiple dwellings. So multiple dwellings, as we know, there are many different facets to them. So we're defining them as multiple dwellings, 2 to 4 units, meaning any residential dwelling that has 2 to 4 individual dwelling units as part of it on 1 meter. Multiple dwellings, 5+ units, means any residential dwelling that has 5 or more individual dwelling units that are connected to currently 1 or water meter. Multiple dwellings or hotel motels means any commercial establishments providing accommodations, meals, and other services for travelers and tourists. The senior living facilities and the mobile home park have also been distinguished, as these are also facilities that have one water meter for multiple residents. So what will not be included in these multiple dwellings are multiple dwellings with 2 to 4 or 5+ units, which have individual water meters for every suite. So these different definitions will be used in part and parcel for setting up our fees and charges bylaw with the 2026 budget. So this is why it is important to distinguish these different types of dwellings, as there's different ramifications for setting fixed fees or water fees for our fees and charges bylaw. So that's why clarification has been added here. Line 3.4 has been updated to remove details that an account will be created for every owner regardless of water and sewer hookups. So as we had discussed before, having water bills for vacant properties that aren't hooked up to water or sewer right now, that is not being, that road is not going down as per discussions with council. 4.3A and B have been updated as recommended to 4.31 and 4.32. And then 4.8A has been updated to 4.81, so that was just some typos there. And then previous line 4.1 has been deleted, which noted that fixed fees and charges will be levied on all properties regardless of whether or not the property is connected to water and sewer. So once again, we will be only levying utility bills for properties that are connected to water and or sewer and have a water meter installed. And then same thing, removing the vacant lands will be charged per property. And then 4.11.1 has been updated to reflect that multiple dwellings will be charged based on classification, allowing for different charges for mobile homes, hotels, seniors' homes, and etc., as noted in the subclasses above. And we've also added a 4.12, which is not noted in my memo, saying that any property that has a sub-meter, so a water-only meter, there's a handful of properties that have water meter and then another water meter installed, say, for a sprinkler system. If they choose to do a work order and shut it off in the fall, those ones can be exempt by the CAO to have no water bills for fixed fees for those months that they have the CC shut off. But that's only for secondary meters that already have a meter installed for the property, and only if they are shut off through work order through the town, and that they're not connected to sewer. So that is all I have right now. Are there any questions?
Go ahead, Councillor Bullock.
On the last part of the, on a work order through the town, that's meaning that the person reading the meter would be going into the house, correct?
That would be something that we would update with our procedures, yes. So that isn't specifically noted right now because this is something that we have just changed in the last several hours. So we will update our procedures to do that so that if a meter is shut off at the CC, that there will be a requirement to ensure that the water is shut off inside the dwelling as well. Some of these other ones that are sub-meters, there likely won't be another place to shut it off. So if this CC is attached to a sprinkler system, it depends. Some sprinkler systems may just have the CC on or off, maybe not have a spot where they can turn it off manually, depending on where the meter is located.
And in the event that the resident or whoever doesn't want to allow us into the residence, how would we handle that?
Well, that's something that we have discussed, saying that if something is to be shut off at the CC, we should maybe have a form that states that it's still the owner's responsibility to ensure that they don't have water leaks and that the town is not responsible should the CC fail or somebody turn the CC on. If water flows into the household, it's still the owner's responsibility to ensure that their water is maintained on the inside as well.
Thank you.
So there's still onus on the owner of the house, even if their water is shut off, they're leaving to have somebody watching their house.
Correct.
Okay, so we will see this on Monday's meeting for this new bylaw? Okay, there's anything that, oh, go ahead, CAO Ling.
Excuse me, as this bylaw has already had first reading, and opened it up to changes, it'll come down on Monday for second and third reading.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Okay, and I guess this one is CAO Ling, the Community Standards Bylaw.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. I'll just go through the memo that was presented prior when we first saw this. So the background on this is over the past year, Protective Services has conducted a review of our current community standards bylaw. The new draft bylaw incorporates most of the provisions from the current community standards bylaw, the current cannabis bylaw, and additional provisions in response to enforcement complaints. New provisions include more specific regulations regarding noise, restrictions on vehicles in residential areas, prohibitions on panhandling, restrictions on long-term camping and on property, and regulations for management and of construction sites. This draft bylaw has been reviewed by the senior management team, and all feedback has been considered in this draft. Administration has incorporated a provision to ensure this bylaw is reviewed every 2 years to ensure the priorities for town council and municipal enforcement continue to be aligned. Council was introduced to the draft bylaw at the July 15th Legislative Committee meeting. This draft is being brought back for further discussion. As for financial implications, if passed, any person found in contravention of this bylaw may be charged a penalty in accordance with Schedule A of this bylaw. The communication strategy will be a public engagement process level 2. So if approved, this bylaw will be available on the Town of Vegreville website. Social media posts will be shared strategically throughout the next year, reminding residents of current/new provisions included in the Community Standards Bylaw. Administration also recommends conducting a Talk of the Town session informing residents of the changes to the bylaw. So the options before council today are, town council may take additional time to review the proposed draft bylaw and discuss it at the next legislative committee meeting. Town council may approve the proposed draft bylaw as presented and move forward with all 3 readings at the next regular council meeting, or town council may reject, excuse me, the proposed bylaw and retain bylaw 17, 2018, community standards bylaw, and 15, 2018, cannabis bylaw as is.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Barry.
Thank you, Your Worship. I apologize, first of all, for not having gone through it as detailed as may be possible when we were first discussing this, but I have gone through very distinctly comparing it to the previous bylaw, and I note that there's a number of differences there, and I have a lot of comments that I'm not certain if we want to take up the time right now. I had actually expected this to come back to a second workshop so that we could look at the fine tuning of what we really wanted in this and how we wanted it prepared. So at this point in time, I'm not in a position where I would say I'd want to bring this particular draft forward to our next council meeting for approval.
Okay, so Councillor Barry is saying that we go to option 1 and that he would then bring forward to admin some of the changes or some of the things that were omitted between the 2, this draft and our original one, and then those, we can discuss this at our next ledge meeting.
Just as a follow-up, I'm not going to go on emphasis as to the actual formatting of it because I'm looking at it and realizing that you're probably looking at a more modern way of presenting legislation or bylaws, et cetera, than the typical formatting that's usually used. And I can explain that in the workshop. But I've gone through several other bylaws from other communities, and I found that they had some interesting ways of dealing with some of these things than what's in this bylaw. And I've also found a few things that when the first bylaw was reformatted, there are 2 or 3 things that got lost and are not currently in there that I would like to bring forward and discuss. And I also noted some things that we have discussed as council in a number of other communities that I would actually entertain discussing bringing into this bylaw. So it's just, for me, it's not at the stage that I'd want to agree to it and vote a yes on without having further discussions as to what we actually want in it, or we want, if there's some things that we'd actually like to modify or take out of it. I'm just not prepared at the moment, and I apologize for that. I think that I'd said that I was at a point where I had read through it, but I hadn't digested it. And so I'd like more time.
Okay, so we're saying the option 1 is maybe you could send out your concerns and some of the things that you've seen from other communities you think may work better in this bylaw. Send it out to all of us, and you and the CIO Lynn could have a conversation, and Manager Newton, as we move forward, and then we'll take some time in our next ledge meeting to go through the changes that were proposed, and then we could bring it to the following meeting.
I would welcome just sitting down with you and just going through, and then we can all be on the same page.
Go ahead.
I'd almost like to see an actual workshop on this prior to the next ledge too. As well, I have a few comments I could provide to you too, send in via email to you as well. Just a couple of questions that I just thought up today after I read it again for the 3rd time. And just something came up that just seems uneven to me because it would some of the stuff that's talked about in here would also have questions on the commercial side and small business and stuff like that that would affect my decision on some of these things, so. So yes, I would like option one as well, but
You would like to see a workshop?
I would like to see a workshop, yeah.
I appreciate all the work that has gone into this already, and combining two bylaws into one is not an easy task. There's no doubt about that. But it just, I'm not comfortable at the moment.
Okay, well, what's everybody's schedule will look like for September the 2nd? We're having a meeting, CAO and a council meeting that day too as well, right?
Actually, your worship, senior admin is busy that morning on the September 2nd.
Okay. Well, I mean, if council feels that there will be some changes that need to take place, then I guess we can't go ahead with it, so we'll just have to figure something else out.
We will look at some other dates.
Okay.
And Leslie will send out a couple options that hopefully will work for everybody.
Okay,
All right.
perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I guess this next one is yours too, the governance model?
Yes, your worship. Okay, so after the passing of Bill 20, Municipal Affairs Statute Amendment Act 2024, which made orientation mandatory for elected officials, administration began seeking resources that can assist in the onboarding of council members. Between 2022 and 2024, Red Deer County Administration and Council created and adopted a governance model in consultation with Dr. Gordon McIntosh, educator and consultant in local government management. The governance model is a framework that outlines how the county is governed. It provides clarification of roles, explains how various roles work together, and describes how decisions are made. In preparation of the upcoming election, administration has adapted Red Deer County's document to reflect the town of Vegreville's council procedure bylaw and best practices. Municipalities are not required to have governance models. However, documenting this information ensures that everyone working in our organization has the same understanding of how the system works, and our municipal government may continue to increase transparency with the public. With the council's approval, this document can be included in the 2025 candidate package and future council orientations. So the communication strategy on this would be if the document, this document will be communicated with a level 1 public engagement process. Copies of the document will be made available on the Town of Vegreville's website through the 2025 election webpage, and will also be used as a tool during the council orientation this fall. So the options before council today are council may review the proposed governance model and provide feedback to administration prior to discussions at the next legislative committee meeting. Council may discuss the proposed governance model at today's legislative committee meeting and move forward with an approval at the next regular meeting, or council may defeat the governance model.
Okay, thank you. So this governance model is not something that is mandated by municipal affairs. It's just something that admin feels that it's a good tool to have in the toolbox. Go ahead, Councillor Bullock.
I took a lot of time going through this one, actually a few times, just trying to dissect and see something that maybe I was missing or not. But in my opinion, what I've seen, I think this is a very good document. And for instance, if a new councillor happens to be coming in the next term, I think this is going to be very helpful to them. And as for myself, it's just a nice, refreshing to see how the order goes, and should make it more, easier what you're supposed to do. Because sometimes, we get tied up in certain things, different meetings, from legislative to the council meeting. Sometimes the decisions get a little blurred, or sometimes at that point. So I think this helps clarify it, puts a little order where it needs to go. I think it just makes it more clear. It's not really changing much. It just gives you a direction of how you should be doing it. So I'm at a number 2 on this one.
Okay, go ahead, Councilor Roy.
For me, I'm a number 1. I think it's a good model to have. I'll be honest, I feel like I need to go through it again though, because there was a lot to it. So I feel like I kind of just skimmed it. I just think if we did bring it to the next ledge meeting, it kind of allows us to do all the things we'd want, which would be having it potentially before next council would come in, or defeating it still if we didn't like it at the end of there. But for me, my preference would be like one more time to have a chance to go through it and ask additional questions. So number 1 for me.
Councilor Barry.
I didn't find too much of a problem with it. I thought that it's a good piece of information, but I'll go along with fellow councilors as to what they feel. I think that it is a document that we should try and get out there for sure. And I think that I would appreciate something like this the first time I stepped on council for sure. And I think we all are that way, that it's a big step when you decide to run for office, and when you first get here, it's a steep learning curve. So I think a document like this, if I could read something like this prior to the election even, it would have been very helpful. So I'm
Probably
comfortable.
would have pulled your name out,
Pardon me?
would have retracted your name.
No, probably not, but I would have been more informed right off day one.
Again, I think it gives somebody new coming to run in for this position a little bit of a playbook of what their expectations can be, and how they can bring motion forward, and just how we operate. But yeah. Go ahead, Councilor Rudy.
Yeah, I've kind of felt like I wasn't expecting this, so I didn't know if this was talked about previously. I think it kind of felt a little bit like putting the bumper guards in bowling alley, just to make sure that everybody's literally staying in their own lane, which is fine. There are a couple of formatting things that need to be tweaked and some spelling errors, so I don't know if you want that forwarded to admin. One thing that I think would be helpful too, like I'm comfortable moving forward with whatever the consensus of council is. I think there's just some small tweaks in here. The one thing that I would think that this council, at this point in our term, maybe it's irrelevant, but I think the notice of motion is something that a lot of other councils do and that we've never done. We've never had individual council members bring forward an issue or a pet project necessarily. I mean, it's kind of been like an informal bringing forward of ideas and being able to have a round table, which I guess in some senses is a notice of motion in an informal way. But I think this would alleviate some of the frustration that first-time councillors have felt in the past, that governance is slow and it takes a long time for things to move through the process. The one thing that I might be curious about is the notice of motion is sort of like your way to be able to backroom an idea or potentially propose something that necessarily is your own viewpoint as a council member, which is fine on this table. I just would be curious if there's like a limitation, like you can't bring forward. I know that some councils, for example, and maybe bigger councils are only allowed one notice of motion per term, like a bigger motion that requires a lot of administrative support. So, I mean, we wouldn't want to unduly burden administration with council members' pet peeve literally, or pet projects. That's the only thing that I saw that was maybe something that might need to be considered.
And the governance, sorry, Your Worship, to Councillor Rudick, this is new, and yes, the notice of motion is new. We do it very informally right now. The idea would be to get to a more formal, so we can actually have, a lot of times, a council, elected official bring up an item that they would like to discuss, and we can't discuss it that day because administration has to go back and do some homework. So a notice of motion gives us the opportunity to do the homework before, so we can bring it forward, so you guys can have fulsome discussion with the information at hand. It's also, it goes hand in hand with a procedural bylaw, and every new term, the council procedural bylaw is reviewed. So at that time, the notice of motions would be added to the, or more in depth in the council procedural bylaw, and that's when decisions like that of how often you can bring it forward, what, is it just for major projects, or is it going to be for everything? And those discussions will be had with the council at the time, because it's basically their procedural bylaw.
Oh, go ahead.
Thank you. And I guess the other part of that too is, and again, this is maybe with a little bit bigger council, but I think we're at a point now too where we've done a lot of the work over successive councils to try to put bylaws in place that are enduring, bringing them forward, trying to make sure that we've got perpetual bylaw review. The one thing that we might want to consider too, as you're moving forward with this notice of motion and procedural bylaw working together, is potentially an assigned touch point through administration that actually, because we've kind of, since I've been on council originally, there's been a little bit of a wane and ebb in terms of how council interacts with administration. Just because, of course, we work together all the time in this setting, but if we're going to be working on projects like this that would be outside of a committee or a board, this would require a different approach in terms of how we interact with staff. So that's just something else that I noticed too.
Councilor Curtis, we haven't heard much from you. What's going on? What are your thoughts?
I think it's well needed and warranted, and number one for me.
Number one for you.
Don't have to expand on anything else anybody said. Nope.
Okay. Councilor Lepke.
Yes, Your Worship. I think it's a good piece of information that's valuable for any councillor sitting or potentially sitting. I'd be comfortable with number 2, but it'd be nice to sit down with the colleagues and go through it and have some opinions to freshen up the model. So I'm good either way, 1 or 2.
So, looks like we're going with 1. Sorry?
Yeah, that's what, I picked one.
Oh, I thought you wanted to go through it more. Another second.
Wasn't number 1 bringing it back to legislative meeting? Yeah,
Oh, okay,
yeah. And that'll
Okay.
give me one more chance to
Okay.
just zip through it again.
that's right.
Okay.
Okay, do anybody want to hear my thoughts on it?
Yeah, sure. Wrapped, waiting.
Like we have a choice.
It's true.
Yeah, no procedural bylaw right now. No code of conduct.
I think it's all good and having the people understand that this is how procedures work and everything. But in real life, things change a lot in what's happening at each meeting and moving forward and what's priorities of council. But I don't have a problem 1 or 2 myself. It's fine. So we want to bring it back to the next ledge. That'll be fine. And if there's any comments or changes that need to be made, can you please get them to CIO Ling prior to that meeting?
Yep.
And then we can list we'll have a memo sent out and we can talk about it at the next ledge. Okay, thank you. Next up is Subdivision Development Appeal Board, member appointment.
Yes, you will be seeing this on Monday's regular council meeting agenda, but we do, with all the advertising that we have been doing for SDAB board members, we do have a member of the public who has stepped forward. So the background on this is the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board bylaw 01/2019 defines public at large, meaning a member of the public appointed by council to represent the town of Vegreville. Municipalities must ensure that SDAB shall consist of 6 members and 1 alternate. So 1 elected official, 5 members shall be appointed from the public at large, and an alternate is 1 elected official. As we lost 2 members in May during member refresher training, Planning and Development has been actively advertising for new members. On July 21st, 2025, Vegreville resident Mike DeHoon submitted his application to become a member of the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board. A resident of Vegreville since 1985, Mr. DeHoon brings with him a wealth of experience, having previously served on various boards and committees. His background in planning and development, combined with his demonstrative commitment to the community, makes him a strong candidate for this position. So the Infrastructure and Planning and Development Department is confident that Mr. DeHoon's knowledge, experience, and passion for community services will make him a valuable addition to the SDAB. So on Monday, we'll be bringing forward a request for council decision to have Mr. DeHoon appointed to the SDAB.
And then at that time, if we,
At that time, I think we will have quorum once Mr. DeHoon is trained. The training is, I think, in September.
and did our council member,
Yes,
the training go good?
yes.
Stellar, actually.
Stellar. So you passed.
Did better than pass. In the end, it's just a pass.
Like, what are you saying, like honor roll?
You betcha. Hello?
Get a
Like-
six, just hit 60, that way the expectations of you are not so high. Okay, well, good for you. Good
Oh,
on
I'm
you.
so thrilled. Yeah, thank you.
You know, at least you took the time in your holiday to do all that studying, and then I heard you were sitting in your room the whole time, writing that test. 3 days of sitting in the room, that's good. Okay, so yeah, we will see this on Monday. And, yeah, I want to thank Mr. DeHoon for putting his name forward. Did we have any others that had applied?
No.
Go ahead.
I did share the notice with a couple of new members to the community. So I think you should be getting actually for sure one application.
Hopefully we do, because, yeah, we're like, we are definitely short two public at large members. So we will definitely have room for another member for sure.
Okay, you have one more item.
Yes, so this is a letter from the Chamber of Commerce, and it reads, "Dear members of the Town Council, on behalf of the Vegreville and District Chamber of Commerce, I am writing to respectfully request the temporary use of the town-owned Quonset building at the museum for the storage of our chamber float with the replica Pesinka. We are currently in urgent need of a location to store the float safely and securely. The Quonset appears to be a suitable space and would allow us to protect this important asset, which is used to represent and promote our town at various local and regional events. We are in the process of building a permanent storage building. We are just exploring options for a suitable location to build it. We hope to have a plan in place soon and have it completed by spring of 2026. We fully understand that the building may be subject to sale in the near future. Should this occur, we are prepared to vacate the space and relocate the float on short notice. We greatly appreciate your consideration of this request and hope to work with you to find a temporary solution that supports the efforts of the Chamber and benefits the broader community. Thank you for your time and attention to this matter. Please feel free to contact me with any questions or discuss this request further. Sincerely, Connie Steinwan, General Manager, Vegreville District Chamber of Commerce."
Okay. Go ahead.
So, just as the board member, I ended up having a direct conversation on this letter. I know it just came in. Just due to a little bit of circumstances, this sort of landed that they are looking for this place. Again, they reiterated completely understanding that the place they have suggested, they thought it may work. We know we have the man shed and stuff in a slightly different area, but they thought it might still be a space. However, they were very clear that they understand that the facility may not in the future be available. They would be prepared to move it at any time if it was requested, and it's definitely not an ongoing issue. They are physically, as they stated in here, in the process of building that permanent storage and then having it to a location. So this really is just kind of a temporary thing that has come up. So I'm hoping that there is something we can do to work with them, either with the space or if we have a reason why we can't, if we could potentially look at some other temporary space. What they put in the letter to me is quite true, as we all know with parades. While it is the chamber float that goes, most surrounding communities, I don't think, look at it and think of it as being the chamber. When somebody sees the egg, they figure it's the town of Vegreville float. And a lot of people say, oh, Vegreville was in these communities. As we know from being in a parade ourselves, it is labor intensive preparing for float. It's also expensive. Going to these places, they incur cost of driving, they incur well, even candy costs. Let's face it, we know what we pay in one community, so it is a big bonus to us going to a whole bunch. So if there is a possible way to accommodate with this or another, it would be greatly appreciated. Again, they're very ready to move it if need be. So that's all.
Councillor Barry, I knew it was coming.
Thank you, Worship. Yeah, knowing the space quite well, for some reason or other, I don't think there'd be any problem until spring of accommodating it. The float would definitely fit in the back part of it.
Oh.
The man shed only uses the front part.
It's 27 feet long. And
Yeah, well, we had a full thrash machine in there from 1949, plus a binder, plus a lot of other space.
that thrashing machine was in there since 1949.
Well, not quite that long, but since the year 2000. No, I think that
What's the status on the roof there?
the only thing is there are one or two areas that drip in a rain event. I should have gone out and checked it because we would have had really good stat in the last few days. But I think that it would be safe in there.
Yeah, because when it's in its collapsed position, it's all covered and everything, so they can travel up and down the road. The only part that is exposed is the egg, and they could drop a sheet of plastic over.
I would say that it might be advisable because the thing about that float is it's a really good replica. I mean, it looks like the egg, and and I think that it's a really good presentation when it's in parades and et cetera around here, and I know they go to a lot more parades than just ours. So I think that we kind of have an agreement with them to utilize it as a symbol for the town. So I think we have some obligation to try and help protect it and let them store it there. And I don't think there's any problem with that at all.
Is anybody against it? I don't think we don't need to wait for a council meeting there. No. I know that they used it on Sunday in Ranfurly at the parade. I was there, so they're looking to get a place to park it as soon as possible, so I don't think we need to. They understand that if the situation at the former museum building changes, that they'll, once they find a location, they will have a building erected and put it in there. So I think we can go ahead with a yes on this, back to them, CAO link. And they can contact Parks for parking, and maybe Councillor Barry could go take a look and show them where the best side is to park on. Okay, thank you. Next up is me. Wow, we have a letter from the Honorable Jackie Armstrong Hominack. She is the MLA for Fort Saskatchewan, Parliamentary Secretary for Settlement Services of Ukrainian Evacuees. This is addressed to Councillor Gerald Lemko. Dear Gerald, I would like to extend my heartfelt congratulations to you on receiving the Robert Clark Legacy Award and your induction to the Alberta Hockey Hall of Fame. This dual honor is a testament to the remarkable dedication, leadership, and passion you have constantly demonstrated throughout your years of service to support your community. Your tireless efforts in supporting and advancing local athletes, particularly hockey, have left a lasting impact not only in Vegreville but across Alberta. Your commitment to youth sports and community development exemplifies the spirit of the Robert Clark Legacy Award. Congratulations once again on this well-deserved recognition. Thank you for your continued service and for being a shining example of community leadership. Sincerely yours, Honorable Jackie Armstrong Hominack. Well, good on you, Counselor. We're all very proud of you.
Yes.
And we all want to thank you for everything you've done for this community and overall amateur hockey in Alberta. So, well, we'll wait till we won't say anything until the council meeting. No, seriously. Good job.
Yes, thank you for reading that. Thank you to MLA Homanyuk for the heartfelt thanks. I'd like to also acknowledge the receipt of certificate from our Member of Parliament, Shannon Stubbs. And thank you for that. You don't typically, when you volunteer and do all that, it's not for awards. It's for the betterment of your community and the betterment of the people in it. So it's very humbling to receive such a prestigious award and induction into the Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now that we know that Councilor Lemko is running out the door to go fishing, hopefully you could be in some sort of hall for fishing. We're going to start roundtable discussions, and we're going to start with you, sir.
Thank you, Your Worship. I've been hearing a lot of people asking. We've had a number of public hearings regarding rezoning of pieces of property in our community. The one Foxview, another by the Cenotaph, another south of the 55-plus community, and people are asking me. So we stirred the pot. Now, what's happening? And we're certainly unsure about the developer at this point and what the situation is. So that's some of the questions. And then a lot of people are asking about the particular lot on the corner of the Old Full Throttle site, which has stirred up a lot of people and is becoming somewhat of a joke to a lot of residents of the community. They're making it that. So I just want to ensure you the community continues to work forward. Council continues to work with our developers and such. And when we get word of what's happening, we'll certainly relay it to the public.
Well, and I hope the public understands that every time we sell a piece of public land, that it comes with requirements that a certain percentage of the construction needs to be done within 1 full year, or we take the land back and return 80% of the payment for that land. This is the thing when the land sales are going through, the requirement is on rezoning, and then once that is done and the sale is finished, it's up to the individual or the business that bought the land. This is why all of our land sales come with this attachment that you have 1 year to have significant progress on your project, or we will take the land back. So that's what we can tell the citizens here. It's hard to move forward. We can't help them finance their projects. We can't, some of the stuff that we're seeing lately has to do with the building cost itself and, tariffs on and stuff. But just I want everybody to be assured that we do put safeguards in place when we sell town-owned property, an asset of the community, that they have a certain time limit to finish their project, and if it isn't, we have the right to take that property back. Okay, we'll go to Councillor Curtis.
Thank you very much. I had some similar questions as Councillor Lemko, as well about the properties. Not too much else. Got to take in the fair this week. Did some shuttle driving around there, so I got to speak with some residents, also some out-of-town people, some people who really like the town, who are from out of town, and actually a few that had mentioned they would like to move potentially here, so always good to hear. Yeah, took the kids out, had some fun, summertime, so that's pretty much all I got.
Thank you. Councillor Rudick.
Well, I missed our last legislative committee meeting. I was away on holidays, so got a few things to mention from my committees. Vegman Learning Society has hired a new executive director, and we talk about bringing people from outside the community to town. She's actually been recruited outside of the province, so looking forward to having Jessica Fenner started last week, and she'll be leading the charge over there, and lots of things to come. There'll be some changes there. I don't know if Councillor Lemko mentioned it previously, but MD Minburn over at the Homestead Lodge did a resident and family satisfaction survey. So everything from what their favorite meal is, to what kind of improvements or changes they see needing to come forward. So good to be able to have this in a document, to be able to quantify what's happening over there, because of course we get feedback from family, residents, and staff all the time from there. I wanted to make sure everybody on council, I'll share this invite as well, but Vegreville Transportation Services Society, you probably have seen the new handy van driving around town, and there will be a grand reveal of the new van officially, and the new second driver on Friday, September 5th from 11 till 1:30. I'll forward that to everybody, but the town of Vegreville is a major contributor to the operation of Vegreville's longest running handy van service. And you referenced earlier the subdivision appeal board training. It is scintillating, exciting, and oh so interesting. I did take the exam, so I'm happy to say that that makes the subdivision appeal board more complete, but we still need some more members of the public. And I did invite somebody that's new to town, who has a lot of executive experience in the past and would be a great addition. So I'm hoping that he will send in his resume soon. But we do need some more people, and just as we're gearing up to the fall, there's been a lot of activities throughout the town. I've had a lot of people that don't live here telling me or reaching out to me to give congratulations to how busy we've been here. I wasn't able to attend the 50th anniversary of the Pisinka at the park because I wasn't well, and I heard from all kinds of people that were really impressed with bringing back the designer and all that kind of historical piece, as well as looking forward to the future. So thanks for that. I did wear my promotional t-shirt.
At the wedding?
Not at the wedding, but it was the day after the wedding at a powwow that I went to with some guests from out of country, as well as a client, and had several people come up and ask me and scan the QR code. So that was a good little addition, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to get people to be able to break that world record. So good work on our staff and our council members who've been doing the promotion, and thank you to the Veg Ag Society and all of the volunteers for powering through which was a crazy amount of rain, as well as a crazy amount of people. So thanks to everybody who did that.
Thank you. Councillor Borba.
Okay, I have just a couple little things. One was first about about the fair days, and also got to drive the golf cart in, well, challenging drive. I think it was fair to say that. And also I wore my shirt for our Break the Record. Actually, we had with the white ones and the blue ones. They were both really nice. Really appreciative that the Scan Me was on the back. Good thinking there.
Yeah.
Had some interesting comments with where some of it landed for maybe Councillor Rudick and myself on the front, but it was quite interesting. And I can tell you people stopped to ask. So it obviously did its jobs. I guess the one thing I was somewhat disappointed to see out there is, I think we all like to share our opinions quite freely when it comes to social media, but I just would encourage everybody as they're going back to remember what a great asset our fair days are and how much work the Ag Society does. And first of all, I think maybe we could all agree that they can't control weather. So maybe, ease up on them slightly, but also everything that is done within those groups are volunteer groups. And most of the booths and the areas, they're run by volunteers. And we're very lucky in a time where people often can't even pay enough people to come out and run it. To run a 5-day solid event, good for them. And it does a great thing for your town. And every business should remember that whether your business was necessarily frequented or not that day, that weekend, it was exposed. You got, and for us as a town, large amount of tourism comes from that weekend. So just, a gentle nudge to everyone to be thankful for our volunteers and the very good job that is done at that event. I actually also wanted to highlight, because sometimes when it comes to protective services and bylaw, we don't always get the compliments come rolling in, but I had one. I just wanted to read a little short piece that was sent in by a resident, and they said that they had the opportunity to meet Peace Officer Eric Cox today. What an awesome gentleman and quite the asset to your town. Totally impressive skills, knowledge, and great communications and people skills. So I think I just want to share that with CEO Ling, and that is nice to hear. Obviously, maybe not always felt if you're on the receiving side, but everyone should remember that we committed a while back that if we had bylaws, we would try and get them enforced, and I think we've got some good skill set. And then the last thing I just wanted to touch on was just a share maybe with our first responders at the fire department. They have been quite active and on a number of call-outs, and some probably very, very difficult call-outs as of late. And I just, a shout out to them. We have longtime members, new members, but it is a different animal being part of a fire department in a small community where you often know the people that you're assisting, whether it be in accidents or fire situations. So thank you to them, and everybody kind of keep them in their thoughts, because they've had some very challenging call-outs. And that's all I got.
Thank you. Councillor Bullock.
Thank you, Your Worship. So much of the same things. I've actually had some conversations regarding some of the construction going around town, and just have to realize that construction takes time and sometimes longer than we'd hope. But it's all in the hoping that Vegreville becomes better and make a better future for all of us. So a little pain for some gain has got to be acceptable. The rain, of course, everything. There's positives coming out of the rain too. You couldn't buy a pair of rubber boots in this town if you tried after a while. So it was a good thing for our retailers. The restaurants were full, and the volunteers did a fantastic job of trying to get through all that, and they did. And driving golf cart was interesting. Some fun times, and some people are laughing. Some of the mud was getting splashed around. So some of the kids were playing in the mud, and they were having a good time. My grandkids were out and had them out there. They had their rubber boots, and mud didn't stop them. So really good job, really good kudos out to the Ag Society for all the events that they put on, and all the volunteer groups around this town. We are very fortunate, and can't say it enough around this table. I'm sure many of us have volunteered at these events as well, time and time again, and we just hope more people would come and enjoy it. And there has new faces every time you see it. You talk to people in the golf cart riding around, the first time to the fair, some multiple times to the fair, and they keep talking about it. We have a great community, stuff like that, and that's all I got to say. Positive stuff.
Nice, thank you. Councillor Barry.
Thank you, Your Worship. Most of mine is all the same thing, so I won't belabor it too much, other than to say when development is in town and we're asked to rezone areas, that's so that development can take place. And then after we've rezoned it, it's up to the developer and the time period that they have to get everything organized. Construction takes a long time. So I think we have to be patient on that. Some cases, it appears that it takes a little too long. And yeah, when I was asked about the full throttle, I think they did neglect and not clean it up, the weeds and et cetera. But I'm hoping that that'll be corrected from here on in. When it comes to the fair, I sort of have close ties with the Ag Society, because as a counselor I do try and attend their meetings and et cetera. It was totally outside of any of their ability to try and combat what came down on the rain. And I think that it is kind of shameful, in my opinion, of so many people jumping on social media and giving them such a bad rap. Their grounds were in excellent shape until we had a rainstorm that was 2.5 inches in a few hours, which was followed in 2 days by another 2 inches, which, believe it or not, within a couple of days we had another inch. So before the fair could even get really rolling, that grounds out there got 5 inches of rain. I have seen pictures of areas out there that were flooded because there was no place for the rain to go. It couldn't soak in anymore. It couldn't run off to the same extent. That's beyond the control of any volunteer group. The aspect is when it comes to the safety of the animals and the drivers, when it comes to the truck wagons and chariots. You have to err on the side of the animals. They can't run in mud. And they can only prepare the grounds to a certain extent. And guess what? It's not the Ag Society that makes the final call. It's the Chuck Wagon Association that makes the call as to whether they're going to allow their races to go ahead or not. I just wish people would stop to realize that the Ag Society puts on a number of events across the year that all benefit everybody in this community. And I felt very sorry for them. But as the week went on, a lot of people were able to show up. And a lot of people had an awful lot of fun out there just the same. And I met a lot of people that were from out of town that felt that things were going just really great and fine. But I'll tell you, 5 inches in about 3-4 days is beyond anybody's imagination. And that goes for the town too. There's a few intersections that got flooded pretty good because pipes can only carry so much water. And then believe it or not, the street is supposed to hold the rest of it until it can drain away. So I think it did its job. Not a lot else that I can say really, other than that I think the town is looking pretty good. I drove every street in 2 days a couple of weeks ago, and I was really impressed actually how well most all the yards across the town are looking. Everybody's been keeping up and making things look pretty good. Out of curiosity, I just wanted to take a good full look at the town, and so I drove all the streets. I guess I needed something to do. But I was impressed with how good this town is looking right now. And that's not just the town properties, but the people are looking after their properties too. So that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Okay. Well, thank you all. Can't say too much more than what you said about the fair. I just want to thank all the volunteers that all the nonprofits were out there working all the different jobs in beer gardens and maintenance and whatever it took to get everything done there. And I think at the end it was fairly successful. Like you said, 5.5 inches of rain in the matter of the amount of time it rained was probably only 5.5 hours of real rain time. So what else could they do? I want to thank Councillor Curtis for his appearance on Global. Got a lot of comments during the parade. I was surprised at how many people watch Global that early in the morning, but yeah. And Jameson and myself were on CTV, and it worked out real well. And I know that I've been wearing my T-shirt to a lot of functions and being around the fair the whole time. Everybody, but a lot of people were taking pictures of the QR code. And I'm really hoping that we're going to see a big turnout here. I know that one lady with a 4-H club out of town, 4-H club was there selling 50/50s. I think it was for minor ball here in town, and said that she wants to sign up everybody in the 4-H group that out of town bring. And I think there's an untapped, we need to reach out to all service clubs in this whole area and stuff too. And hopefully there's a list that a mailing or an email list we can reach out to. And the other thing I wanted to mention was I'm getting a lot of pressure from Jameson's department regarding businesses and plaques that have not been handed out. And a lot of businesses are wondering why they didn't get recognized. So I'm going to really have to call out the councillors right now that have them, or maybe I'll do it after the meeting.
I know I have them.
Okay. Okay. Because, we need to get on that. We need to get it done up, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more businesses here in the near future that are, but we do need to get that cleaned up, and we need to recognize those members of the new businesses in town. So I'll leave it there. If you have one.
No, I have two. I have two.
So I found out who the culprits were. What? What?
I think I got one that got damaged. I'll have
drove over it.
Okay, well, our apologies right now. Obviously, they're collector's items. No, we will definitely get on that ASAP and get those done up here. Okay, other than that, like I said, I've been hearing nothing but positive stuff in the community, So next up, we have probably not Director Lefebvre, but Director Saskew. Your highlights.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have an assessment services update. So as we have discussed previously, the town has completed the transition of assessors to Accurate Assessment Group. They will be taking on our ARB complaints and any other questions from ratepayers effective immediately. If there are any residents that would like to reach out to the assessors, there is a new process. So old assessors allowed ratepayers to call them directly. These assessors prefer the ratepayer to call our office. We take down information as their roll number, their name, their contact, and their concern. I take that information to the assessors, and then the assessors get the background info and then call them back. So instead of being out and about and just give a hypothetical answer, Accurate Assessment Group prefers for us to get all of the details first and then contact them. So not that they're not willing to speak with ratepayers, they just want the background info before they make that call. So that is a little bit of a change. I do have some great news when it comes to the Forced Main and the AMWWP grant. We have received the balance of the Forced Main lift station funds in the amount of $1,120,003. So this is after the submission of the final grant working papers, which sounds fantastic, but it's actually a cumbersome process. We have to send in an invoice and a spreadsheet for absolutely every single penny spent of each grant dollar. This dollar value of the 1.12 million is $265,395 outstanding from prior year as a receivable, plus $854,608 in the cost escalation that was awarded to the town in April of 2025 by the prior Minister of Transportation, Minister Dreeshen. So that's very exciting for
I
us.
still think he's the same minister.
He still is. I thought he changed. No. Okay, continued minister,
So,
sorry.
just in total, how much funding did we receive from the minister?
It was like $2,119,608.
We need to really send or I will be thanking. I mean, the cost overruns, and they were willing to help us with. That was amazing. So,
Yeah.
And what do we get from federal?
It's a separate grant.
a separate grant. We didn't have anything there.
There was no federal. We did use some GTF funding in the amount of $63,000, but that was just our normal allocation, so that wasn't extra. This was extra additional on top of our normal MSI that we received.
So we'll be moving forward with the debenture.
So the debenture, I have right here in this yellow folder. I'll have the final documents for signature shortly. Okay, moving right along. So we've also continued correspondence with the library. We received the 1-year LOU extension today, so that's very exciting. The CAO and I have a Teams meeting with the library manager tomorrow, so we will update council with anything that comes of that. We are also in the process of doing a detailed IT review. So this is not as exciting as it sounds. I have to take an inventory of all computers and determine which computers are already on Windows 11 or available for upgrades to Windows 11, because as of October, anything that is not able to upgrade to Windows 11 is a doorstop. So there's a bit of a project. We have 42 computers alone that were all purchased in 1 year. Those ones all, I believe, are available for an upgrade, but they're also due for replacement. But in being prudent to not have to purchase 3/4 of our fleet in 1 year, we are staggering that entry. So there is a bit of a job. We may have to repurpose and hand me down some computers for this year just to stagger so I don't have to purchase 42 computers every 5 years. So that is underway, and stay tuned. Good news, council's laptops are all up to date. So we have also continued to make contact and have demos for our new ERP solution. So our current program, Microsoft Dynamics, is coming to end of life. So we are in the process of doing demos, and we've recently had a really good meeting with a local company to Alberta. They're offering us a trial run of their program with our existing data. So we're giving we're giving them a copy of our data, and then we actually get to use their program and try it with our own stuff. So that's very exciting. They're a new one. It's called R&R Symphony. Budget 2026 is underway. We spent time working through the preliminary budget, and we're preparing for upcoming managers' presentations on September 30th of 2025. And upcoming at the next legislative meeting, I will have a variance analysis for council as well as grant updates for year-over-year analysis. And that's all I got. Justin is.
Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions? Yes. Councilor Rawa.
Okay, just, well, maybe one to start here with, this is just about that Windows update. Did they indicate, full, like, no access or just no access to, like, a couple of the folders and drives? And the only reason I'm asking is we kind of just gone through that with work too. And when we went back to them, because what we were being told originally is all the new systems, you have to buy the whole thing. And then they came back and said, well, you'll still be able to access your original Outlook and everything in its classic form. You're just not going to be able to hit. There was one particular internal drive we couldn't hit. So I was just wondering if that might be the same here. And then that might help in who gets which computer.
So our option with our IT security is more so just being connected to our network. They don't want us. So there are a couple of computers. There's one that municipal enforcement is using for like their old ticketing system and it has like all their existing case files on it. That program actually isn't even available to upgrade to Windows 11. So
Right.
that one is staying as a computer and they can access it and the program is already downloaded on it. It can connect to Wi-Fi, but it cannot connect to our network because it will be a security breach. So those are the ones, like there are a few exceptions like that where we can still remove the computer from our network so they can't access a whole bunch of our network drives from it, but they can still use that one program on it.
Okay.
And for the most part, I think we only have maybe 3 or 4 computers that are completely like red, not usable as connected to the network as of October. But there is the 42 that we have to deal with because they are coming to end of life and end of warranty. So
I mean,
those are a
unfortunately, we know
problem.
that happens just when it comes to computers. They're obsolete the day you get them, which is, frustrating. I knew we had ran into sort of that same thing where they suggested that, say, people who were doing some remote work, they may not necessarily have to access all parts of the network, but just were able to step around and access their emails.
Yeah.
That we were able to work around that because it hit us. Because even on a smaller scale, it's not great to go, every single person needs a new one, which is what we were originally told, and we've now been able to back it down to 2 have to be done, and then
That's where we're at right now. And like, that's a great example of like maybe working remote. So we have a laptop that the lifeguards use to enter their time. That one doesn't need to be connected to our network and drives. It can just be connected to internet.
Yeah.
So that one they can use. So there's like, it's a bit of a process, but it unfortunately has fallen on my desk more so than IT because IT doesn't necessarily know what each individual does, what capacities and capabilities they need. So it's just much more cost effective for my department to kind of take on this little study of it. But
Absolutely. And then the second question was actually just related to some information a little bit earlier. Really appreciating where we're seeing some savings with departments where they're really listening to us saying we need to, do our parts to save. When it comes to these, though, with all of the draws that they were making, they would have been coming to you anyways, right? So it's not a situation where it's within their budget to be utilized in other areas. Those would come back as surplus that we could then reallocate to, say, some of the reserves. Is that correct?
yes and no. So it really depends. So the one, I can't remember which piece of equipment that came under budget. It depends how it was funded. So if it was funded out of reserves, then we're only going to take out of reserves what was used to buy it.
Okay.
But if it was funded out of operations, then absolutely yes. We've already levied for that amount. We can add that up and roll that up into a reserve. If it was funded through capital, we would save that money on capital. We would just have that money carried forward to be allocated to a different capital project next year. So that one we can't roll forward into reserve. So it really depends on how that one item was funded. And so that's what I will have at the next ledge meeting is an analysis of grants and where we are. And same thing with like the capital projects, like what we've spent to date, what was the savings and where those savings, so to say, went.
Yeah, and I so appreciate that. I like the way you guys present those updates. I mean, this isn't something I'm suggesting is necessarily an issue that's been here, but I do know in other things and maybe even in other municipalities where there's a little bit, say, of flexibility within a department, you hear of things of knowing that there's certain surpluses left within what was allocated for that area. So all of a sudden there becomes a, well, we'll go purchase all of this, or, you know, stockpile on something. I'm glad that the way we have ours set up, we don't see a lot of that, because, I mean, the general public is listening to some areas of savings, which we want to commend, but we also want them to realize it wasn't being basically levied again and again. We're using that towards the next project, so.
Absolutely.
Are you talking about municipal services being under budget on a few projects, enough to pay for that rough cut mower that we had to take out of unbudgeted funds?
That's certainly what I'm looking at, and I appreciate there, but again, we need to strategically make sure that where we've captured that, it gets allocated where it needs to
And
be.
people
versus-
don't run out and say, whoa, we got some money left, let's go.
Absolutely. That's what I meant.
Probably don't run your household like that.
No.
Yeah, and we do actually have a pretty stringent policy on that. Anything that is like even allocating, so say I had a services purchased item that I didn't spend or it fell through, and say I wanted to allocate that $10,000 somewhere else, anything $10,000 and greater has to be approved by the CAO, and then anything, I forget what the dollar value, I think 20,000, it has to come to council. And our practice has been taking most of those items to council, like unless it's very small.
And definitely, I appreciate that, because, I mean, you can see where they happen. But it is fair to say, too, if you're doing 5 or 6 projects and they all fell under 10,000, where they wouldn't necessarily, we could still be talking about $50,000, which doesn't just get eaten up into budgets. It's going to be tightly. Yeah, and 1,000 here and there, so that's good. Yeah, thank you.
What else you got going on?
You missed it all. That
Oh,
is
that's fine.
all I've got.
Good job.
Thank
Thank you very much. And now it's CAO highlights.
All right, thank you, Your Worship. I actually have quite a bit today. So I'm going to start off. On the agenda, you will see a letter attached. And I would like to congratulate a couple people sitting in this room. So first of all, the NACLA, which is the National Advanced Certificate in Local Authority Administration, is a 4-year university program that teaches about municipal administration and all the fun things you do working for a municipality. So I would like to congratulate Director Saskia. She has completed her program. She has passed her NACLA 2, and she will be applying for her CLGM designation. And I would also like to congratulate Leslie, our legislative administrator. She has completed her NACLA 1 and is moving on to level 2, and she has about another year and a bit left before she can apply for her CLGM designation.
Let's have a barbecue.
Okay, let's do it.
We, a couple, well, it'd be about a month ago or so, we applied for the Alberta government's DEMS grant, and the DEMS stands for the Digital Evidence Management System, that is in correlation with the body-worn cameras for the RCMP. I'm happy to report that we have been approved, and we have already received our first of 3 annual payments of $6,319 this week.
We signed the contract last week.
Yep. I'll move on to Protective Services. Protective Services in the last little bit has received a $10,000 grant from TC Energy to go towards AFRAC radios. They've received $8,131 in grants for medical first responders from the Alberta government this year. That Enbridge truck that was donated, Manager Newton has managed to get the emergency lighting donated as well. And then we have some comparative update on municipal enforcement. So the stats that I'm about to say are from 2024 and 2025, but they run the period from January 1st to July 23rd. so comparative for the same amount of months in the year. So total files opened in 2024, there were 248 files done by that date. In 2025, there's 517.
17.
517. Total fines issued in 2024, there was $14,009. And in 2025, of course, this is to date, is $43,239. And officer observed files, which is only a 2025 stat, and that is of the 517 files open so far this year, 310 were officer observed. I meant from bylaw, or from our CPOs and our bylaw officer going around and looking at neighborhoods and door knocking and taking a look overall at bylaw infractions. And then also on the fire side, the tech rescue, which is the old ambulance that the fire department kept when we divested, is currently being decommissioned from fire, and it's being moved over to Parks, Rec, and Facilities for use as a facilities vehicle. So it can do a little bit more, like have a compressor and stuff like that installed in it. Moving on to Parks, Recs, and Facilities. In Parks, the crew has been keeping up with mowing and trimming all the green spaces except for the big fields, lagoons, industrial park, and the roadside berms that the Schulte handles. The new Schulte arrives this week, so we'll be able to get larger areas caught up quickly. And we've also been busy trimming and removing damaged or problem trees around town. For the pool, it's been busy with lessons and public swims. We had a small hiccup when the hot tub pump quit on us, but it was replaced and back up within a week. The pool will be closed for its biannual shutdown the evening of August 23rd and reopen the morning of September 8th. While it's down, we'll complete some minor maintenance, deep clean the entire facility, drain and inspect the basin, and then refill and balance it. We're also hiring more part-time guards, as 4 of our current guards are off to post-secondary in September. On the facilities side, we are finishing up some small projects like painting bleachers, touching up exterior paint, and upgrading security systems. Post-fair cleanup is in full swing at the arena, multiplex, and social center. On the hockey front, the AEJHL is bringing back the Vegreville Vipers. They'll prepay for the ice month to month, practice weekday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., and host 12 to 15 home games plus playoffs at the Wally Fadoon Arena on weekends when the Rangers aren't in town. Figure skating and minor hockey will also be starting earlier to make most of the ice time, and that's earlier in the day. Ice installation for 2025-2026 season starts the week of August 18th. And they hope to have the ice ready by August 31st. The first booking is September 5th to 7th for the Vegreville Rangers hockey camp. On the curling ice installation begins October 6th and will be ready for November 1st. And vandalism. Unfortunately, we have seen more vandalism over the summer. Broken windows in outhouses, damaged sinks, plugged spray park toilets, playground equipment vandalized or melted, picnic tables burned, specialty bolts removed off playground material or playground apparatuses, tires and shopping carts pulled from the river, and graffiti at various locations. Estimated costs so far, including the labor to clean up, are around $13,000 to $15,000. And it will likely increase as repairs are completed. And we're hoping that this slows down once school starts. And that's my report.
Any questions? Go ahead, Councilor Riddick.
Can I just go back to the amount of the fines again, just so that I have that accurate?
Okay, and keep in mind, this is from January to the 23rd of July. So in 2024, there was $14,009. And this is both provincial, like traffic tickets, and bylaw fines. And in 2025, It's 43,239. And one of the largest increases there is having the second CPO who does traffic.
Go ahead.
I can add to that too. So obviously, as fines are collected, we only get a portion back through our grant, or the way that it works with.
Fines under the.
Policing,
The
yeah.
highway traffic.
Yeah, so by law enforcement, our CPOs have been doing highway traffic fines as well, and it actually is evidence. So in 2024, year to date, we collected 35,000 in fines. So that's for the whole year of 2024. In 2025 to date, we have 40,000 already. So we were already 5,000 above last year, and we still have, this is probably 6 months to go, because they're always behind in sending us. So I'd be surprised if we have our July one in there right now.
And does that include municipal enforcements, other fines under
This is
bylaws?
just for the highway ones. So this will be between what the CPOs have done, as well as like other police officers in town. So it is evident there is additional funds coming in that pool.
Yes, and the 43,000 that I stated would include bylaw fines, like enforcement fines.
Okay, well, Manager Newton's back here. We heard you secured some more grant funding for some other projects.
Yes, Your Worship. TC Energy was kind enough to donate an additional $10,000 for our AFRAX projects that we're moving towards, as well as the MFR, the Medical First Responder Grant, where I believe it's $8,100 and something dollars off the top of my head. And then that emergency vehicle that Enbridge supplied to us, I got all the emergency lighting donated to us as well.
We're just hearing about you and your other officers, the amount of infractions they're seeing around town and knocking on doors. Good job. Congratulations.
Thank you, Your Worship. That's a big part on our summer student that came in this year. It was a pilot project that we refocused our summer student from emergency services onto protective and enforcement services. So that's a large part on his part as well. To date, we've written 149 written orders, whether it be, I understand, Councillor Barry went for a drive earlier in the last couple of weeks, and that's a big part on the summer student, making sure that those properties are cleaned up and maintained and continue on with that.
Well, it shows a lot of initiative that we get out there first. I mean, nobody wants to phone on their neighbor, but if their weeds are bad or they have unsightly yards and stuff, and that we're getting there first. That's good. Any other questions for CAO Ling? Okay, well, I'll save our congratulations for Megan and Leslie until the council meeting. Hopefully you'll both be here. Who's going to be able to be at the world's largest egg on the spoon race? Bringing all your friends.
I may not. I'm on holidays. I'm going to try to come back for the day.
I'm on holidays.
Yeah. You're coming back for the day?
I can't.
Oh, I tried.
But I am promoting it like crazy.
Yes.
So. Okay, so basically there's no other business of council right now. We do have a couple of land pieces that we need to discuss, so I would entertain a motion to go into closed session. Councillor Curtis makes the motion. All those in favor? Carried. That was at 5:18. Leslie?